Good morning, good evening, good night, my little chickadees. Welcome once more to Saving For Skaven. The mini episodes will take us all the way up to the release of the next edition of Age of Sigmar. Yeah, managed to find a nice, easy way of doing it that time. Yeah, I'm a winner. As always, I am Adam, and with me today is a second Adam.
Hello, I'm the unused clone.
You have escaped from Splice of Life.
Indeed.
As the old joke went. And with us today, of course, is the biggest and swingiest of all the big swinging Ds. It's Big Swinging D.
Hey, folks.
And today we're going to talk about the Eternal Prosecutors. Eternal Prosecutors? Stormcast Eternal Prosecutors. Because they soar into battle on wings of azure flame. Of course they do. Who has thoughts on this update of the Prosecutors? Because holy shit balls.
Yeah, as updates go, this is a bit of a banger.
Yeah. I mean, I never really liked the original Prosecutors. The Wings of Light were just a bit weird for us. Didn't quite work for me, but
yeah, I got what they were going for, but the execution, you could never really make it work. These, oh boy. And the shift to the Ruination Chamber, the fact that, and they're using the logic that, well, this is the branch of the Stormcast who would be most affected by Be'lakor's dicking around.
Mm-hmm.
So their reforging would be more often and more broken. I mean, these just look great. I'm not entirely sold on the open helms, I will admit.
Really?
I've seen a few other folks raise that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you just paint them as closed or do a head enough. It's not a deal breaker.
See, I quite like them because it gives them a real Greek look.
It does. It does it that, yeah.
Which, there's always been this weird thing with the Stormcast. There's been a little bit of Greek, a little bit of Norse mixed together. And these guys, they look like they've just flown out of a My First Greek Myths book.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that aesthetic to them.
They've got the hoplite spears and shield for crying out loud.
Absolutely. And the trident, which is very much a Greco-Roman weapon by tradition. So
yeah, so Zack Snyder, this is what a trident looks like. The hint is in the name, Tri. Having 5 spikes on your trident is a quadrant. That's not a weapon.
All right? Hang on. Quadrant?
Quindrant?
To be fair, I think they normally just call it a fork over if you have more than 3 tongs to your pointy stick.
Yes. All right then. That's called a fork. Yeah. Aquaman goes to battle with a fork and spoon. Strange little bastard.
It's weird. I have to admit, I look at this and the two things the criticisms I have, probably very petty. The first is I wouldn't have those bases. I would find a way to attach. I would have them genuinely flying, on a proper clear plastic stand, because I just think that with some of them, the way they've got the feet, and they've tried to be as smart as they can with the way it is, tactical rock to the max, but it feels like it sort of slightly takes away from it, and I think a clear plastic frame would really help because the wings are so expressive. And the other thing, and this is something I have with the line actually, if I had the skill to do it, I would take that spiked kind of mohawk and I would unclip it from the helm. I would then sand out so that there was no gap between the helm and the metal spiked crown, let's just call it. And then I would stick it back on because I just want it to be a little bit closer because it feels like that's almost extra distance from the helmet for no reason. I told you this was really petty. But it's one of those things. I'd prefer it to be sort of all whole. You know what I mean?
In fairness, it is a design choice that they've used across the Stormcast range going right back years, and I'm the same. It's bugged the hell out of me as well. My brain just goes, I know what you're doing, I get it, but the artist in me wants to say that's going to snap.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
which is a shame because, like you say, they look lovely otherwise, and if it was just a bit closer, it would probably not be as noticeable. But
I think the way you get around this type of thing is you make the connecting point an obvious magnetizer. So you can put the magnets in the foot and in there, in the pillar.
Yeah. I mean, there is a bit of an argument. We're complaining about tactical rocks, and yet these are probably some of the only miniatures like this GW have done in a long time that actually look like they're in flight and not landing on the on a small piece of rock when you weigh nearly a ton in full armor.
Yeah,
like all those salt marines that you just want to say, come on now.
Yeah, they've got better at this, a lot better, and they're getting the movement really, really well. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a slight weird part of me that misses the old transparent flying bases, but I also understand that they were not great and they needed to be there because that's the only thing they could do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at. I have a bag full of the damn things because of how many issues of the various part works I have, and for both 40k and for AOS, I hate these things with a pack. They're so awkward because I've tried a few things where just actually getting a good glue connection and then like slapping some masking fluid over the top instead.
Yep.
And it still doesn't quite feel right because it's so easy just to break the connection because it's such a small point.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a shame because I get what they were trying to do. It's just the execution was just like,
yeah, that's why they needed to use the Figma style extendable arms with the grabby bit.
Yeah,
those are going to be a better idea.
I mean, I liked what they did. They've done for speeders and whatnot. They've introduced that thicker, chunkier flying stand.
Yes,
it gives you you get a much nicer connection, and you can do more with it. If they did something like that if they could do something like that for infantry, for jump infantry, that'd be nice. Or come up with a better. If they're going to do characters on jumping poses or landing, think more about what they're having them land on. I mean, poor Dante. That rock's going to break as soon as you put the rest of his foot down.
Yeah, tactical stairs can only go so far. It's weird as well. There's something I saw not too long ago as a joke. A friend of mine who makes does a lot of 3D modeling and sculpting and casting as well. Lots of creation. He, for a joke, he'd promised a friend of his a particular version of a Action Master, and he decided to give it to him at an event, but it was also as a joke because he had encased the thing in a block of pure, like, clear resin plastic, beautifully finished off. But this thing was obviously stuck in the middle of a clay bar, so he can never actually touch it. And I'm just thinking of some of these models that actually, if they could do like a almost like a cylindrical clear, and cast that in a cylindrical block of clear resin, and you just have this beautiful piece. You can never touch it. Of course, it'd be a nightmare to get away with the air bubbles and stuff like that. You probably very hard to do it, but it would look beautiful because you would literally have this thing floating in the air. Either that, or of course you'll get to some point and someone will find a way to practically magnetize figure and a base so that it floats and floats well.
I have wanted to do that. Yeah,
that's it. Game over.
So there's a what do you call the repulsor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. What I want to do with that is have 2 strong earth magnets in the attracting position, one on the machine, on the repulsor, one on the base, and then have 12 magnets who are on the repulsing, obviously, side, all around the outside. So you've got the inside pulling and the outside pushing, and I'm fairly sure you could get it to float by doing that.
Yeah.
What's an interesting experiment to think of?
I haven't bought a repulsor to do it yet.
I have
all the magnets.
I have 4 that I've not built yet.
There you go. This is now your ambition in life, is to see if you can get this to work.
Oh dear God.
It would have to be curved, because otherwise it would just push it straight back off again. So the positioning would have to be perfect.
By the way, if anyone from the future is listening to this as an archive recording, as part of the documentary, how did War Floater start as a company? How did the $1 billion War Floater company start? This is how it started. And the three of us had no idea that we would end up being this rich, successful, and corporate.
I've just noticed, by the way, on the Prosecutors, at the very bottom it says, in fact, these guys can be built with classic closed helms or a new style open face.
Oh, lovely.
I missed that.
Yeah, it's right at the bottom.
By the way, can I give some shout? Because again, apologies to people listening as well. I am not. I think I've said this before anyway. I'm not as up on this line as I am on. So I'm sure that the wings might even be a standard thing that you guys have seen that many a time. But as somebody who plays a lot of Warframe on the PC, they've always struggled with this idea of organic wings, natural wings, and metal wings. And many films and franchises have struggled with the idea of organic and metal, or organic and like realistic. These are really good. The way that they've managed to combine the different elements, because you've got metal skeleton, natural beginning, and then let's just call it a weird organic magic end goo. And it flows really nicely.
It absolutely does. I mean, we mentioned the original Prosecutors, which had the spiky energy wing effect, which you could see what they were going for, but for a lot of people it never really quite clicked.
Yeah.
But they maintained that because you got the 2 knight characters they did for them, and the is it the Celestian Superior?
Prime Celestial.
That was it, Prime Celestial.
Prime Celestiant.
Yeah, who just has a giant pair of them. But then they didn't do characters with wings until Third Ed with Andrasta. And her wings are complete. She has proper full feathered wings, no armor over them. She's literally an angelic figure. And it's very interesting because there's a comparison with the Sister Battle line, because they did Saint Celestine, whose wings are artificial, but a lot of the artwork does depict them as being wings of light.
Yeah.
And it's a very familiar trope for a lot of the living saints to have that effect. And I mean, I'm calling it now. I'm expecting to see Battle Sisters using these wings in many a conversion upcoming.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But also, Blood Angels players are probably wetting themselves, waiting to do updates of the Sanguinary Guard using these.
Take this guy, right? The new Prosecutors. You have bolter in one hand, maybe a sword in the other, and a Space Marine helmet, and you have yourself a Blood Angel Marine that's going to look amazing.
Yep. Interestingly, though, it's 2 women and 1 male.
Very true. Yeah. And I'm going to go for you do it.
Yeah. I'd
do it.
I mean, Blood Angels especially. The whole point is that their gene seed takes rad-infested mutates and turns them into
vampires.
Beautiful, perfect vampires of the paragon of humanity.
Yep.
That surely they would do that to anyone who could pass the test, male or female. So,
absolutely.
Well, this is into the Emperor's Children argument. Take who they want.
Well, the way I've always been thinking about it over the last few years is Space Wolves, right? Space Wolves is going to be able to take anyone who can pass the tests.
Yeah.
Because if they are space Vikings, then the women are just as much able to pick up an axe as the men, and that's history for you. That is actual history. So Space Wolves, they should be the ones that have the first female Marines.
And the thing is, they've put Fenrisian women in other roles beyond Fenris. there's a Fenrisian rogue trader, which still blows my mind slightly, but it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, hell, they even had it called out in one of the books where a shield maiden asks the space wolf, well, why don't you take women as well? Why is it just for boys? Why don't you take the girls?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the wolf is, I can't remember if it's a wolf priest or an actual marine, a standard marine who she's questioning. Can't really give her an answer.
Yeah.
And he's actually thinking, that's a good point, actually. Why don't we do that?
I'm fairly sure that that's something that's going to happen soon, and the sooner the better.
Wow, just a Fenrisian Imperial Guard would be a sight to behold.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a great idea.
And on that wonderful note, I think we should go before we zip off on too many tracks.
Yes.
God,
I mean, given I have a massive Space Wolf army, don't give me any more ideas.
So we will draw this to a close now. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you can find all of the Fluff and Hammer stuff in the show notes below. Come join us. We are very, very nice, honest government. I'll see you next time.
Sometimes.
Bye-bye.
See ya.